Okay. Well, I had some success this week building, and one of the problems that I had run into, let me go over. It's very important. I'm going to bring over the developer's docs here. That you follow their required, first thing is follow their required build settings. Now, this is one thing. You see where it says here, support on V7, well now it's 8. So be aware of that. And then go through, I think, everything else. This is important, it won't have everything it needs otherwise. Full screen. This, I guess, tells you about the lighting. And you must have these settings, or it's either not going to build, or you'll build it and you try to run it and it is going to crash. So that is the first thing I learned. The other thing that's important, let me see, is notice down here it says R21E, and allowed versions R21A through R23A. So that has to do, if you go into first of all, one of the problems I ran into is I did not have R23 installed, but I had R24 installed, and whoop, this isn't the one I want. Let's see, packaging settings and SDK. I think this is it. This is your Android settings, and I think that was the AP. Okay, so we looked at that. Now in the Android SDK, I had a point to see the NDK. It's you can see where it is, App Data Local, Android. It's under SDK. If you point to this, and since I didn't have, got rid of 24, it was okay. But I had this set here, and this seems to be more based on here. And then the SDK needs to match. So it's the latest version on disk. So maybe this should have been 23, and this maybe should be what they have on the documentation, R21. This is R20. I think I was running R21, so it kind of figured out what it to use, but before it was using 24, and that's why it would crash immediately. So once you have those set, what you need to do is you're going to go here, and before I do anything, I would also build, in case there's anything that needs to be built, and run the package. When you run package, it's going to go through, and it's going to actually do the build, and you're going to end up, let's see if I can show you what you end up with. Oh, this is also, you will need to install Visual Studios. The free version was fine, and the Android Studio, because that's where it can get the stuff to build everything it needs to build. Let me see where I can show you. So, not sure which one this is, but this is one I just built, and when you set it for a directory, and it's going to put under here, you're going to have a batch file. I'm assuming you're using Windows. You'll have the equivalent in Mac, and the APK file. and when you run the batch file, it'll install it on your system. And if you did everything right, then you should get it working. Now, what I noticed, and I don't know if you can even tell looking at the, let's see if I can bring up the one. Okay, this is what I'm trying to get to work without using all that stuff, but I haven't quite got it yet, and I'm researching that. Because right now, the easiest way to get this thing to work is what? Oh, I see. It's folded over. Very simply, they give you, and they talk about this. Let me show you. There is. I have. What do I got here? What? I better not save anything so I don't mess anything up here. So, engine content, and here are your plugins. And by the way, if you don't see it, because that was another thing that drove me nuts, click on this little gear here and show engine content. So this is what you're going to see. Now, under here, you have the Leia camera content. You got your blueprints, which are the one that they, the camera component example. So and the Leia camera pawn, and which is the one they recommend. And what you do is you set it equal to your camera here. Now, I'm not sure, this works. I'm not sure what we get. So this is a blueprint, and this is just your camera. And you got an input and a look and add controller, and this is for the controller pitch and yaw. So that's that. And okay, so this is your camera component example blueprint. And the target camera. So one of the things you have to do when you set up the pawn is you set a target camera. And this is a camera. Now, the problem I'm running into is actually get it to properly use that camera. And I got to use the camera, but it looks like it did not pick up the 3D. So I'm going to do a little bit more research on that. But the easiest way to do this is they have sample levels. And they got a camera setup level, which was the simple one. And this is your camera. This is your, I guess your, would be your level for the, this is your level blueprint. And this has, my guess is if you replace this level blueprint, well, this is the character event graph. So this is not your level blueprint. But you can see it has your controls and all that. So I think this is basically the way you the controls for that camera pawn. And then they have different things, and you can basically bring this, see, where did it go? Did it go here? Project settings, and you go to maps and modes, and you bring over the camera setup perspective level and just copy it in here. That'll give you the basic level. What you do there, and you have to put it in both, what you do then is you can then get rid of whatever you don't need and want from the sample level, and then stick in your items, your actors, and so on. So that's what I did here. And let me see. Now notice this looks blurry. That's because it is pointing to the camera that's pointed to by the where did it go? The pawn, the Leia camera pawn right here. And let's see something. Yeah. So this is the character that they stuck in, and interestingly enough, I'm still struggling with figuring out how to replace the camera with the camera I want. I came closest with trying to replace it with a regular camera and then piloting that camera, but I ended up with total blur. So obviously I'm doing something wrong. The stuff I've seen so far online has been that I've seen so far online is where you're going to write blueprints in order to switch out that camera, which seems kind of odd. It seems like that would be a basic thing that you would want to do. That they would not require a blueprint to do this. But so far that's all I've found. Here's some more. They give you a lot of sample scenes. And like I said, so if you use one of their scenes, you have everything set up that's going to work. This I want to be able to do it. You shouldn't have to use their samples. So I'm trying to figure that out. Now, an alternative, if you don't want to use Unreal Engine and build something, bring up Cinema. So an alternative that works pretty well, and I think I can show you that. Not that you'd be able to necessarily tell, but this is what I did. I took an example I saw in a game, in a video, and I did something similar. And what I found is you get that popping that you want, where it feels like it's coming out of the screen, more so than if you just convert. The way I did is I rendered this in stereo, and I want to show you that. Let's see. Recent projects. Open recent. See if this is let's see if this is the one. Yeah. So first of all, I turned it, and here, was it here? Options to stereographic. This is why you see the little blue and red. Just like, in the old movies, they had the blue and red glasses to make like a 3D movie. Similar concept. But what I use, For some reason, this did not, I could not get the Redshift camera to work well. The standard camera or Octane camera. Let's see. Octane cam, oh, I'm not, am I? Where am I? So here, I'm trying to see where I did it. And this basic camera should, yeah, stereoscopic. So you change it, you go here, symmetrical, and I left this pretty much the same. Now, one thing I did do after looking at some other information, this is important. This is very important because it's not going to look right if you don't do this. Unlike the Redshift camera, the this camera here, the Octane camera, has a stereoscopic option. So you can set it for individual channels. I set it for 2. And in, let's see, where did I do that? Oh, I think it's output. Right. So I made this double, like for double the width, or you can half the height, but I doubled the width. And pixel aspect, I changed to 0.5 rather than 1. If you don't do this, it's gonna be squashed. They're not gonna look right. So you want to double your width and half your pixel aspect. And then I rendered it, and I went in to, I'm going to have 3 programs up at once. We'll see how unhappy this computer hopefully won't get too unhappy. So we will see what we got here. But this is the last part, is if you do it this way and you choose to render out a stereo image, and I have not found how you would put together, because they say 4 channels. Well, I haven't found how you do that yet. Now what are we doing here? Okay. Looks like Redshift is, I think I might have done a little, no, this is up. And he's up. I'm going to take him down because we're done with this for right now. And hopefully, there we go. Okay. What is this doing? All right. You see if they look a little stretched. But when you render them, and let's see, I had 2 different video clips, and I don't know if we can see that. It looks like there is something where you can you know what? I'm going to start a new project and see if I can. You sync the clips just like you sync audio. I'm going to start a new project and see if I can bring in these renders so I can show you. Oh, I know why I'm not seeing it. Let's cancel this. I'm in the wrong. All right, let's see. So what you can do is you grab this, and I think you grab these 2, and Stereo 3D Sync. you can do, you want both eyes, and you sync these two bins. When you render out, you can tell it, cinema's still up, yes. You can tell it in the render settings. Let's see, edit render settings, save. Let's see, maybe it's a stereoscopic. Use folder for savings. So what that's going to do is each channel's going to have its own folder, and what you're going to do here is you're going to pull them in, the folders in. You're going to make a left folder and a right folder and a sync folder. You're going to, if you look here, oh, I guess it's moved it to the sync. But you're going to put your left channel in this, you know, that folder, and your right channel in here, and then you sync. Now, I don't know if the free version of Resolve does this, and I have not yet looked at how you would do this in Premiere Pro. My thought is that in Premiere Pro probably has, I'm almost certain they have it. I just have not figured that out yet, or actually I have not looked at it yet. So anyway, I know we've gone through a lot. So basically, to sum up, you have essentially two alternatives to get good output from your 3D creations. You can use the stereo camera. Right now I'm using the Octane camera. Hopefully I'll figure out Redshift, or you can use the standard camera. Or if you want to go to Unreal Engine and use their plugin. Right now, the thing that worked for me is just pulling everything out that I didn't need from one of their sample levels and putting in my stuff. That's not the ideal, and that's not ultimately what I want. Well, eventually what I want is that it should, it should be able to do is set this up, and once I figure out how to tell it, use this camera, then I think we'll be in good shape. But in the meantime, you pick the type you want, you get rid of all the stuff you don't, put in your stuff, and it'll look, you know, if you get it looking good, you'll have something, it feels like it jumps off the page, even more than the stereo. When it's working correctly, it looks like it's jumping off the page, and you probably can't really tell here, but that's what I noticed. When I took a 2D into 3D, it just did not give the same pop, the same result. So hopefully this has been helpful. Probably ran a little long here, but I wanted to get the information out to you so that you can start. And please, if you try this and you run into any issues and questions, you know, feel free to post a comment, and I'll try to answer it. You know, it took me some time to get the Unreal stuff working, and I'm still not working entirely how I want. How I want is I should be able to connect any camera I want to the pawn, and it should not even look at or bother with the original camera. So anyway, again, hopefully this has been helpful, and I will speak to you next time. Take care.